Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to interview for Superintendent of Elkins City Schools. My name is Bridget Carson, and I will pose the questions as they were presented to me and respond accordingly. Question number 1. Tell us about yourself and why you desire to be Superintendent of Elkins City Schools. Personally, I am one of 4 children born to 2 United States Army veterans. Having been born to veterans, we had the opportunity to travel the world and to see lots of different cultures, lots of different places, and lots of different things. I would say that unique opportunity made me understand how important learning really is, because I was in lots of different places to learn so many things about people, about education, and about how the world works and how life works. I do know that everyone wants the best for their child, and that was evident in all my travels. No parent sends their child to school not to come out with a more productive way of becoming a productive member of society. So it takes all of us to do that, and I think that is one of the greatest things that I learned in my travels. I did have the opportunity to travel from the ages of 6 to 16, came back stateside, and I matriculated through Washington High School in Washington, North Carolina. After I garnered my diploma, I then went to Elizabeth City State University, which is a teacher's college, and I would say that I knew I always wanted to be a teacher, because being the eldest child and trying to help 3 siblings, brothers, navigate the world, naturally there are things that I had to teach them, whether that be of an academic nature or how the world works and operates. And in having to do that, it just afforded me the opportunity to see that that is a great way to help people, and it was just a natural extension of who I was as a person. Professionally, I would say that I was attracted to Elkins City Schools because of your philosophy in regard to having partnerships with students, parents, and the community to ensure students are lifelong learners and productive, responsible citizens. I would say that my parents had instilled that very thought or philosophy in me early on, and to be honest, they instilled it in all their children. So I have always known that it's important to learn, to grow, go forward, and to give back to your community. And I say to give back because in my family, we have a long line of service, whether that be through education. At least 3 generations of my family, either my mother or father's side, have served as educators or by way of service in the military. So we come from a long line of service-oriented people, and that is just how I was raised, what I was raised to do, and it is a passion of mine to make sure that the next generation of students is ready to assume their rightful place in society, and in doing so, they must be educated. Question number 2. Based upon the available data, what is the first area of instruction that you would focus on? Why? And what would be your plan of improvement? I would say that yes, in reviewing the data, there was an area that struck me as in need of focus or in need of having the courageous conversation. But before I say that, I would say this. As a new superintendent, you don't go in and just make sweeping changes. You must have some conversation and dialogue about what change or changes you'd like to occur, why it is that you see that being a change that needs to occur, and then how to go about that. And in all those conversations that you have, it is essential that all stakeholders are present for that conversation in order to devise or come up with a plan of attack. Having said that, the area that caused me to have a little bit of thought about how to improve would be the graduation rate. It is not what it had been in the past 2 years, and eventually that impacts achievement across the board. And that falls in line with your mission in regard to students being lifelong learners and responsible citizens. It is our responsibility to ensure that they are educated to assume their rightful place in society. And that doesn't always mean attending a 4-year institution. It could be garnering a 2-year degree, or if you are entering the world of work, that you do so with your diploma. You do so that you are ready to be a working, productive member in this digital age of the 21st century. And I would say, in having that conversation about how to plan for change, the students who opted not to graduate, the first people I need to speak with would be those students to see why it was that they chose not to continue to matriculate and garner their diploma. What could be done to change that? And if possible, if they were able to come back, get them to come back so that they do graduate with their diploma. I would also say that in doing that, it is our responsibility to make sure that we input into the students that their ultimate goal is to graduate. From K through 12, we need to be having that conversation with students, that is not an option, that is the requirement, that is the expectation. And if you inspect what you expect, then that will become what comes to fruition. The third question, discuss your vision of STEAM and how it relates to Elkin City schools. I would say I'm most impressed with STEAM in regard to Elkin City schools because out of the 100 schools in the state of North Carolina, school districts that is, in the state of North Carolina, it is the only district that I see that has a STEAM focus. And I do know that STEAM means that you're focusing on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And what I find unique and appealing about that is that it is a multi-layered approach to education. So you're not teaching in isolation as most of us have learned in the traditional school setting. What it affords a student to see is even though they might have a strong math background or a strong art background, the culmination or the integration of all those components is how education plays out in life. So not to teach it in isolation, but to teach it as an interdisciplinary unit, to teach it connected so that the most meaning can be gained in that interaction. And I would say that the most unique thing about the STEAM philosophy, because it's not a program, it truly is a philosophy that is embraced by the school district, is that it teaches children to connect and to collaborate. It is essential that students have that exposure to collaboration and connection. We don't operate in the world alone, and I've always been a staunch supporter of the philosophy, there is no I in team. Everything that is done in the world eventually is worked through teams of people. And in order to be a contributing member, you have to learn how to work as a unit, as a group. And that is taught in school. And the best way to do that is with the STEAM philosophy. So it would keep students prepared for 21st century skills, and they would be critical thinkers, collective, and collaborative in their approach to learning. I would also say that it affords them the opportunity to learn to communicate, and everything comes down to communication. Question number 4. As a new superintendent, what do you see as your biggest area of strengths, and what do you see as your area of needing growth coming into this position? I would say an area of growth is where I'd start, and that would be the budget and learning your culture and climate. You don't want to come in and just make sweeping changes or not know what it is that is being talked about, or to have buy-in by the stakeholders in regard to a change. Things that I have as strong suits or strengths, I would say, is my collaborative nature. I am a person who does believe in working together. There is no I in team, as I stated before. It is imperative that we all have a seat at the table and have our voice heard before we move forward with initiatives and changes. And sometimes it may not change the outcome, but it is important that a person be heard to know that they are valued as a member of the team. And even though what they are speaking to or about may not be changed, just the fact of knowing that they were heard is the most important thing that can occur. And once a person is heard, then they can go forward because they do know that the process didn't just occur without their input. Input is important before you can go forward. And listening is a very important part of having that input or that dialogue. And I would say that too is a strong suit of mine. I am a person who does listen, and I listen with an empathetic ear so that I understand or can gain some knowledge from the perspective that you are sharing with me. Again, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to interview for Superintendent of Elkin City Schools. I look forward to meeting each board member in person, and I hope that you have a good day.